Hey friends! It is mid-June already. Oh my goodness, where does the time go? So I happened to get all of these plants planted in during the month of May. It was a really busy month, and now they're just starting to bloom. And so the plants have grown really well. They're still growing, and now they're blooming. And since it's been a little while, I feel like I have a lot that I want to share with you. I want to show you some of what's planted. I want to talk about the weeds, my irrigation, pinching, and harvesting, like where to harvest when you're making those first early cuts of your flowers. So yeah, this is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video than my other ones that I've done, around 5 or 6 minutes. This is going to be a little bit more of like a farm tour. So if you're interested in seeing what I have going on here, yeah, I'm going to turn this phone around and I'll show you guys. So this first row here, I've got 2 different kinds of Cosmos, Rubenza and Candy Stripe. I've been saving the seed of the Candy Stripe over and over. These are your classic cut and come again flowers. They just bloom so profusely. I almost think I'm a little bit crazy for planting an entire row of them because they really are hard to keep up with. They require deadheading if you don't pick the blooms. I mean, almost all flowers do, but Cosmos are a little crazy. They're beautiful though, very giving flowers. And yeah, so these I've had to pinch about 3 times before they started blooming. And pinching, I'll go by and show you with an example, but it's essentially cutting off the first bud of the plant. And then we have zinnias, 2 rows of zinnias here. Different mix, the Queen series, the Cinderella series, some Oklahoma salmon, and then some Benneries. And then you can see some random Amaranth in my rows. The Amaranth volunteered itself, but I'm pretty happy about it because I like eating Amaranth, so I'm not weeding it out until it like really becomes a problem. I'm instead just like going through and snipping little bits of it to eat for dinner. And my marigold row, I'm a little bit disappointed in like the beginning of this row and kind of the middle. I hope that these plants in the middle get a little taller. I tried Savannah. I tried Savannah and Ivory this time for marigolds, and I can't remember which is which, but they're both right here in the front. You can see they're kind of taking a little while to get going. This plant doesn't look too bad. So this is an example of a plant that I pinched pretty hard. It's hard to see in the sun, but you can see all these side branches coming up really nicely, and there's nothing in the middle. That's because when the plant sent up its first bud, I came and cut it off. And it feels wrong to do, but what that does is it sends the energy into the other lower branches to become longer and stronger and taller. Otherwise, you get one big honker middle flower and then like really tiny stems around the side. So you have to pinch. I pinched the marigolds, I pinched the zinnias, I pinched the Cosmos. Looking pretty there. Salmon rose. And so you can see that I do have a bit of weed pressure here in the pathways and in some of the rows. I've been keeping it clean mostly in the rows. Pathways, I might just come with a weed whacker when it gets out of hand. I have in the past put landscape fabric down in the pathways, and that's really nice to keep things clean. But I don't want to deal with landscape fabric this time around, so I'm just going to endure the weeds. You can see that this Daikon is now doing really well. And it's a little funny because if you remember my last video from doing the cover crop, I showed a picture of a Daikon, and it was so tiny. The roots were like that big, and it was really, really skinny, and it hardly did anything in my cover crop mix. And I wanted the Daikon to make those nice big air pockets in the soil, but yeah, it couldn't compete, I guess, with the vetch and clover and all the grasses that were here. But after occultation, now my Daikon is going gangbusters, and it's like all around the farm. But I'm not too mad about it because it's food. You can eat Daikon. I'm really only weeding it out if it's growing right next to a plant, but like in the pathways here where it's not even interfering with anything, I'm just leaving it. But it looks pretty healthy, and I'll just pull it up. It's pretty good. I've gotten Daikon a lot bigger than that down here though. This is a great biomass crop too. Like I'm just leaving it on the ground, so that's gonna become mulch. So that's great mulch. Yeah, why I have a lot of weeds. So I meant to get my irrigation in the couple weeks after I planted. I had it set in my calendar to do that, but we got a rain like the third week in May. Fourth week? Yeah, third week in May, we got a good rain for about a whole week. And so that just put all my farming on hold. And then I went camping over Memorial Day weekend. And so I just didn't get irrigation set up until like the first week in June. So I was pretty late on it. And so all the overhead watering I was doing, and then the rain, like just really made these weeds come up. But that's okay. And here we have one of my favorites. This is Gilia Globe. It's the sweetest little blue flower, if my camera would focus. You can see some of it here, and it's so sweet. This is a California native. Little bees love it. They go crazy over it. You can see it sends up nice, tall, straight stems. So this is Gilia Globe, and this is actually my native row. I'm really excited about this one. So we've got the Gilia, and then here are gum plants. Another native, and you can see kind of how my spacing is with the irrigation lines. This is a good example here. So these are about 9 inches apart, maybe a little bit more, and they're staggered, meaning they have room to grow on the sides of each other, and I use 2 lines of irrigation going down the middle. I'll talk about my irrigation next, but let's continue down this row. Then I have Nicotiana. Nicotiana is a really beautiful native, come on camera, focus, native flower. Little trumpets. It's a bit sticky. So again, this is one that, like, you can see here, same thing like I tried to show you with the marigolds. Here's that main stem. I actually let the main stem of this one flower. And then harvested it to use as a flower, and then it sends up all these side shoots, and so now I have all these usable side shoots. It's pretty incredible. So this one is great. These marigolds are doing well over here, not their ones next to them for some reason, but the classic orange, of course. And then here I've got milkweeds. So this is the showy kind of milkweed that is native, and I hope to bring some monarchs to the farm. Oh yeah, I think I have to keep the camera like this. I hope to bring some monarchs to the farm with this milkweed. It's pretty amazing. Alright, so Celosia. This is a great example of one to, for pinching. I need to get my clippers though, so take a walk with me. I'll bring you up so you can see the farm. So you can see my paths are a little bit bigger than probably some farmers, but that's because, like, you can imagine once this is grown in and once this is grown more, like, the path really narrows down. And also I like it wide because when I come through and I overhead water the first couple weeks, my plants are in, I have room for the hose to snake around and not crush plants. So the wider pathways are more ideal for me personally. Let's go down this way. I have straw flower here. It's another good example of my spacing. I love when plants are in this stage. So vibrant and fresh. And dill, this is going a little crazy. I think it's so fun. It just brings a lot of sparkle to the bouquets and little whimsical elements, and it smells amazing too. All right, so back to the celosia. For pinching, let's see. This is a good one. Okay, so you see this little guy? He is trying to flower way too early. He's got these little like buds up here getting ready to flower. This one too. First off, I should not have two in a cell there. So I'm gonna cut that one off. Sorry. And then this one, I'm gonna pinch this one hard, right there. So that's pinching. This means that there are gonna be little branches growing out the sides of where these leaves are. Those are called the nodes. And there's gonna be little branches growing out them. You can see on this one that I pinched earlier, you can see right there, clip, and now these tall branches coming out. So celosia I've had to snip a few times. Look at this guy. So this one, trying to flower way too early. And so I've learned that the taller they're sending up their flower, the deeper I need to cut. This one's sending its flower right up there. I'm gonna like cut right there. And you just kind of go ahead and do it. And yeah, that one. So I've got a mix of celosia here. These are seeds that I saved. I really don't know what they're gonna look like. Amaranth, another one you have to pinch. My oh my, is this gonna be a nice big patch of amaranth? And these are pretty cute. Cupcake Cosmos. I got some little bee friends on them right now. I love them so much. They're so pretty. Look at that guy. So this is cute. This is, come on phone. This is a native bee, a little native Melisodes bee, and they sleep on the flowers and wait for the females in the morning. They're the sweetest. So, focus phone. Sorry guys, iPhone troubles. There we go. Alright, so there's the celosia. I've got another little patch of zinnias. Oh, I need to show you how to harvest zinnias. How far down, how far deep to cut. So, I hope this isn't going too fast here. Let me show you real quick with a zinnia how far deep you cut. Here, let me pan out so you can kind of see the farm here. Alright, that was the first row. And so I've got maybe half of this farm planted up so far. Half of it's going to be summer, and then the other half's going to be getting ready for spring crop. So let's go. Alright. Let's see. This is a pretty good example. So, Queen Redline, beautiful zinnia. You can see this stem goes down to where there are these two nodes. Now this stem is a little particularly long. A lot of times they're not that long on zinnias. And if I were to cut here, then it would send the growth down to these ones. But these ones would not get as long as if I were to cut even lower and then let the lower ones get longer. So zinnias, like, you really need to cut hard on these. So this one I'm gonna cut here, and then I just take off the, it's hard to do with one hand. And I strip everything in the field, but, so that would be my zinnia stem. And you want long stems as a cut flower farmer. And so let me show you another one for an example here, one that maybe It's a little bit shorter to begin with, but we cut it to make the stem longer. Oh, these are all doing pretty good with their long stems now. This is like the second week they've been blooming. All right, here we go. Bennery's Wine. You can see if I were to cut it right here, that's not that long. That's not bouquet size. So I'm gonna go even lower. And I'm just gonna sacrifice those 2 stems. So I cut way down there, but all the energy is gonna go into these stems now and make them really beautiful and long. And this one, now, this is so hard to do one-handed. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now I have a reasonable stem, and I want that off. But pretty, huh? All right. Let me talk for a minute about my irrigation before continuing on with the tour. Where was that one, Zinnia? All right. So my irrigation here, I use, this is 1-inch black poly tubing connected with a PVC pipe, and these little poly connectors that go into the PVC, they're glued in. And then this connects to, I have Netafim drip line. So Netafim, same as Tech Line. It's the brown tubings. Emitters are spaced 12 inches apart. And then I have a valve for turning on and off the water as I need. 2 lines per bed, and this works really well. And goes down and do. So everyone is like that. You can see it goes all the way down. Ta-da! All right. So we're at Strawflower, and now here's hibiscus. Hibiscus is pretty cool, and then I've got cotton in the middle, lots of basil. Basil can make a really good cut once it gets a little woodier. Got scented geranium, Dusty Miller, bunny tails, status, it's all short, and scabiosa, and rudbeckia in the way back. And then this one, sunflowers that I transplanted, and this poor row did not really make it, so I just came with seed and put some seed by the emitters, hoping that'll do something. And then amaranth after that. The sunflowers are another really good example of pinching. These you really need to pinch, especially if you get the branching kind. You don't really want to pinch your pro cuts because they just make one stem. But you can see here, I pinched off the head, and now all these tiny little shoots by the nodes of the leaves, they're going to send up really long stems, and I'm going to have a lot more usable stems. You can see with this one that I didn't get to, that's what the head would look like, and then pinch. Sorry, but not sorry, because I'm going to get a lot more beautiful stems off that. So yeah, this is the farm so far. Plenty to harvest and cut. So your farm doesn't have to be huge to get a lot of abundance. I mean, I think these are 10 rows just right here. Kind of quite a lot. So doing pretty good. Over here, I'll just talk real briefly. This is where I'm doing my dahlias. I have 2 dahlias per crate. 2 of the drip lines. You can see I just have that set up here like that. So These are going to be dahlias, and they're going to continue to be dahlias, but I'm just letting this occult a little bit more, and then I'll be planting the rest in the ground because I just didn't have enough crates. And I'm going to put some T-posts up on either side and shade across the top. So I'm going to try dahlias in shade because they don't typically do very well in my climate, zone 9B. It's just way too hot, so I'm hoping 50% shade will help. And here, just last night, I got some Lisianthus planted, and I have this like ghetto structure of agribond over hoops for shade. But yeah, these babies are looking good. I started these seeds in January, so I'm pretty proud of them now. Started in January, planting out mid-June, slowest growing seeds ever. But yeah, so that's the farm in a nutshell. This video ended up being like 20 minutes long. I really appreciate you coming on the tour with me and seeing what's just starting to bloom. I think next time I'll do this video, these plants will probably be double in height and full of flowers, so it'll be really pretty. All right, bye.